The CEO just said on live TV that XRP will be worth more than Bitcoin and that Bitcoin will be worth more than $200 0 cents by the end of the year. The Federal Reserve has given the go-ahead for XRP to be used for payments, and Ripple has given $10 million 0 cents to the US government to get the process going. That's what the CEO of Ripple said again. Hey guys, welcome. 29,941,034. We're paying attention to it today because Ripple's IPO is about to begin. XRP will be released when ProShares Trust's XRP ETF goes public on April 30, 2025. In fact, XRP has already gone through the roof, rising to $50.17 in South Korea on globalized platforms. Of course, this is just the start of the huge bull run that will go along with XRP's huge price rise that will take it to over $2,940 0 cents. We'll be sending you free XRP soon, but first, this movie. Anyone who sees this movie can get up to 1,000 worth of XRP for. There is a great chance to make money for free, so I strongly advise you to take it. The price of XRP could go up or down by tens of thousands of dollars at any time. With that in mind, let's watch the movie right away. The price of XRP starts at $28 0 cents, then moves to almost $29 0 cents, 1.5%. This movie, which is also the title of today's video, is where we have to start when we talk about XRP. It shows that the CEO of Ripple was right when he said that the price of XRP would go up. Let's watch it now. People, we're not betting on what will happen in the next 6 months. We're betting on where the world will be in 3 years. I'm not sure what will happen with the taxes. Would you have bought that thing a year ago? No way. A lot of different agencies work together to plan the attack on the SEC and other parts of the Biden government. We're learning more and more about this. For example, the IRS had rules against crypto that didn't make sense, which you brought up in your opening statement. But their bank sheet says it doesn't make sense for banks to be involved in this business at all. The real business is that the government wasn't listening to what people were saying. Voters weren't being heard or getting what they wanted. Now, everywhere we look, there's a lot of purchases that didn't make sense a year ago, but do now. Now, that's really cool. When I look at you, I remember being sued for this 2 or 3 years ago. Now that it's December 22, 2020, that's 4.5 years later. I asked myself what was going to happen. As we talked, you seemed like you were on the verge of this finally going away, but it's good for the business as a whole, not just Ripple and XRP. Want these jobs to be sent overseas. In the past 4 years, it's been almost the opposite. We think it's safer to send them to companies in other countries. Are you hiring a lot of people? Since we bought them, we've hired about 1,000 people, which is really cool. These jobs pay a lot, as we've talked about. During the 4 years that Joe Biden was president, we hired more people from outside the US than from here at home. I'd like to hire people here because I'm an American and grew up in Kansas. Some of the best people in the world work here, but it didn't make sense to put money into a market where we couldn't get buyers. Didn't see how banks would benefit from an easier and better way to settle payments across borders. These tools can really make things better and help a lot of businesses and customers, but we need to be able to give them to these groups. Yeah, I think it was more than 10 years ago that the Winklevoss brothers' plan to make an exchange rated was turned down. They asked right away if there was an ETF that would let people invest in Bitcoin, but were told no. Now, there are a lot of them, and an XRP ETF just started this week. It hasn't traded live in the US yet, but we've had 11 requests to let it trade live in the US. People have been waiting a long time for this. This is a step toward making these markets better and more regulated. When we bought Hidden Road this week, we paid 1.25 billion baht for what's called a prime broker. This lets even bigger banks like BlackRock and the biggest Wall Street banks get into the market in a way that makes sense for them with a safer prime broker. As for the trade war, what's your final thought on it? For a while now, people have said that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies were a way to protect themselves from worries about the dollar falling. In fact, Larry Frink said on this network's show about a year ago that it was a hedge against worrying about the dollar falling, crashing other currencies that hasn't quite come into play yet because the dollar has been falling really fast over the last 5 or 6 days. However, as of this morning, it was still at its lowest level against the euro in 3 years and its lowest level against the Swiss franc in 10 years. Frank, what makes crypto prices go up and down? Crypto prices are going up today, but they're also going down. There are a lot of things that can affect that market, just like any other market. When some of the tariff factors were playing out, it was clear that crypto was doing better than the stock market, but some people thought it would work better like gold. I think we're at an all-time high right now. Many people still don't know what will happen with that, but I think it will be very clear what this is worth in the long run. It protects against inflation, and it works like this. The more useful we make the crypto markets, the more value will move into them. I'm going to ask you again and again how much you want Bitcoin to be worth. I'm not sure if you do this already. Cardano, blockchain's founder, said that 250,000 would be used by the end of the year. I think Bitcoin will happen, but I don't think XRP will. Even though it's close to home, I don't think 200 is too much. I think, said this before, somewhere around 175 dots. I think most people don't know how the US, which has the world's biggest economy, went from strong odds to strong winds behind. And I think people are still not fully understanding how important it is to have the world's biggest economies and asset managers who used to be unfriendly or shut out work together